Hey everyone, it's Your Name with Finance First. We love a good dose of escapism as much as anyone. That dream of ditching the daily grind, building a cabin in the woods and living off the land. Yeah, it's a classic for a reason. But here's the thing about dreams, they don't always line up with reality. Especially when it comes to the legal realities of off-grid living in the United States. You see, while the image of Thoreau chilling by Walden Pond might scream freedom, the reality is far more complicated. Because in America, even escaping into the wilderness can land you in a legal battle. Today, we're diving deep into the often overlooked world of off-grid living regulations. We'll be exploring 8 states where those idyllic dreams of self-sufficiency can quickly turn into legal nightmares. First up, we're heading to the Golden State, a land of innovation, natural beauty, and, surprisingly strict off-grid living laws. You'd think a state known for its counterculture movements and embrace of alternative lifestyles would be a haven for aspiring off-gridders, right? Well, not so fast. California's dedication to environmental protection, while admirable, can create a minefield of regulations for those seeking to live off the grid. For starters, the state has some of the strictest zoning laws in the country, often limiting where you can and can't build a home, let alone an off-grid one. And while California is a leader in solar energy, even going off-grid with solar panels comes with its own set of regulations and permit requirements. This means collecting rainwater, a staple of off-grid living, can be heavily restricted or even outright banned in some areas. So, while the California dream might still hold for some, for aspiring off-gridders it might be more of a legal headache than a peaceful paradise. Next, we're traveling to the Sunshine State, where the weather is warm, the beaches are beautiful, and the off-grid living laws, well, they're about as welcoming as an alligator in your swimming pool. Florida might seem like a prime location for off-grid living with its abundant sunshine and ample rainfall, but the reality is a bit more complicated. The state has strict regulations on rainwater harvesting, even on your own property. Add to that Florida's strict land use codes designed to protect its delicate ecosystems, and finding a place to legally build an off-grid homestead can feel like searching for buried treasure. So, while Florida might seem like a paradise on the surface, for those seeking an off-grid lifestyle it might be more of a legal swamp. Howdy folks, and welcome to the Lone Star State, where everything's bigger, including, you guessed it, the challenges of living off the grid. Texas, with its vast expanses of land and independent spirit, might seem like a no-brainer for off-grid living. But hold your horses, partners, because things aren't always as they seem in the Wild West of off-grid regulations. In many Texas counties, it's illegal to live on land without those modern conveniences we often take for granted. I'm talking sewer and water hookups. And while Texas might be known for its wide-open spaces, those spaces are often governed by strict homeowner associations, HOAs, which can have their own set of rules and regulations that might not jive with your off-grid dreams. So, before you saddle up and head for the Texas hills in search of off-grid freedom, remember, even in the Lone Star State, the long arm of the law has a way of catching up with you. Next stop, the Empire State, where dreams are made of, well, maybe not off-grid living dreams. New York, with its bustling metropolis and concrete jungle, might not scream off-grid paradise, but you might be surprised to learn that even in more rural areas, the state throws up some serious roadblocks for aspiring off-gridders. New York has some of the most stringent building codes in the country, and they don't make it easy or cheap to build an unconventional home, let alone an off-grid one. From insulation requirements to foundation specifications, building a home that meets code can be a costly and time-consuming endeavor. Finding land where you're legally allowed to build an off-grid home can be like finding a needle in a haystack. And even if you do manage to find a suitable plot of land, good luck getting approval for those composting toilets in tiny homes. New York's regulations often favor traditional housing options, making it difficult for off-gridders to find their place in the Empire State. Aloha, and welcome to Hawaii, a land of stunning beauty, volcanic landscapes, and surprisingly difficult off-grid living regulations. You'd think an island paradise with abundant sunshine and rainfall would be a haven for off-grid living, right? Well, think again. Despite the natural abundance, the regulatory landscape is anything but simple. While the aloha spirit might be strong in Hawaii, the path to off-grid living is paved with permits, fees, and legal hurdles. These regulations are designed to protect the environment but can be a significant barrier for those looking to live sustainably. Hawaii's isolation and unique ecosystem make it particularly vulnerable to environmental damage. This means that any off-grid project must meet stringent environmental standards to ensure the protection of the island's delicate flora and fauna. Building an off-grid home in Hawaii often requires navigating a labyrinthine bureaucracy of permits and approvals, each with its own set of fees and requirements. This can be a daunting task for newcomers and even seasoned residents. While Hawaii receives ample rainfall, collecting that rainwater for personal use can be heavily restricted, requiring permits and adherence to specific guidelines. These regulations are in place to ensure that water resources are used sustainably and do not negatively impact the environment. Even connecting to the grid in Hawaii can be more complicated and expensive than in other states, as the islands rely on a delicate balance of energy sources. Renewable energy options like solar power are popular, but they come with their own set of regulatory challenges. So while Hawaii might seem like a dream destination for off-grid living, the reality is often more complicated and expensive than many people realize. The dream of living sustainably in paradise comes with its own set of unique challenges that require careful planning and consideration. Next, we're heading to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, a state known for its stunning scenery, outdoor recreation, and surprisingly strict off-grid living laws in some areas. While some areas of Colorado might be more lenient towards off-grid living, others have implemented regulations that make it nearly impossible. For example, in certain counties, it's illegal to collect rainwater on your own property, even if you're using it for non-potable purposes like watering your garden. Some areas require residents to be connected to city utilities like sewer and water, even if they have alternative systems in place. So while the Rocky Mountains might call to your adventurous spirit, remember to check those local ordinances before you go off-grid in Colorado. Now let's roll the dice on Nevada, a state known for its casinos, desert landscapes, and surprisingly strict land use laws. While the bright lights of Las Vegas and Reno attract millions of visitors each year, there's another side to Nevada that many don't see. That can make off-grid living a gamble. You might picture Nevada as a vast, unregulated expanse, a place where you can carve out your own piece of paradise far from the hustle and bustle, where you can disappear into the desert and live off the grid without a care in the world. But in reality, Nevada has some of the most stringent land use laws in the country, designed to manage its unique and fragile environment. And those laws don't always jive with the off-grid lifestyle. One of the biggest challenges for off-gridders in Nevada is water rights. In a state where water is more precious than gold, navigating these regulations can be daunting. Water is a precious commodity in the desert, and Nevada has a complex system of water rights and regulations. These rules are in place to ensure that everyone gets their fair share of this limited resource, designed to manage this scarce resource. Collecting rainwater, drilling a well, or even diverting water from a natural source can be a bureaucratic nightmare. Can land you in hot water, legally speaking of course, if you don't have the proper permits and approvals. The legal hoops you have to jump through can be overwhelming, and failing to comply can result in hefty fines or even legal action. So, before you pack your bags and head for the Nevada desert, remember that even in the Silver State, the dream of living off the grid comes with its own set of challenges. Off-grid living can be a high-stakes game. The allure of independence and self-sufficiency is strong, but the reality of navigating Nevada's regulations can be a real test of your resolve. Finally, we arrive in Georgia, a state known for its southern hospitality, peach cobbler, and surprisingly difficult off-grid permitting processes. This state, often celebrated for its warm welcomes and delicious peaches, hides a more complex reality for those looking to live off the grid. You might imagine Georgia as a place with plenty of land and a relaxed attitude, perfect for embracing a simpler off-grid lifestyle. The rolling hills and vast countryside seem ideal for setting up a self-sufficient home, away from the hustle and bustle of city life. But while Georgia might be known for its peaches, navigating the state's regulations for off-grid living can leave you feeling more like you're wading through a thicket of thorns. The paperwork and legal hoops can be overwhelming, turning your dream into a bureaucratic nightmare. One of the biggest challenges for off-gridders in Georgia is obtaining permits for water and energy. These essential resources require extensive documentation and approval, which can be both time-consuming and frustrating. Many counties require residents to be connected to municipal water and sewer systems, even if they have alternative solutions in place. This can be a significant hurdle for those who have invested in sustainable water systems, only to find them not recognized by local authorities. And while solar power is gaining popularity in Georgia, obtaining the necessary permits and approvals for an off-grid solar system can be a time-consuming and bureaucratic process. The red tape involved can deter even the most determined off-grid enthusiasts. Georgia has statewide building codes that apply to all construction projects, including off-grid homes. These codes are designed to ensure safety and compliance, but can add another layer of complexity to your off-grid plans. So, while Georgia might have its charms, Off-grid living in the peach state can sometimes feel more like a sticky situation. The dream of a peaceful, self-sufficient life can quickly become entangled in a web of regulations and requirements, making it essential to be well prepared and informed before embarking on this journey. So there you have it, folks. 8 states where off-grid living can be more of a legal minefield than a peaceful escape. From strict zoning laws and water restrictions to mandatory grid connections and building codes that'd make your head spin, the path to off-grid living in these states is paved with more than just good intentions. But don't despair. Just because these 8 states present some unique challenges doesn't mean off-grid living in the US is a lost cause. There are still plenty of places where you can find that perfect balance of freedom and legality. The key is to do your research, understand the local regulations, and be prepared to advocate for your right to live a more self-sufficient lifestyle. Want to know which states support off-grid living? Subscribe and stay tuned for our next video.